Hello friend, and welcome back. It can be so hard when you're just getting started with decluttering to know where to begin. Spaces are so overwhelming and it's really hard to know. So today I want to give you 10 things that I do not recommend that you start with, but I'm also going to give you some ideas of places that maybe you could start that are going to be a lot easier, less draining. So hopefully today's video gives you lots of ideas of places that you can begin as well as not begin. Thank you for being here, and let's hop right in. I do not recommend that you start with your clothing. For many reasons. A lot of us are pretty sentimentally attached to our clothing. We have special occasion items where we have memories of those things. We have memories of when we fit into certain items. It's clothes, they hold a lot of sentimental value. So I do not recommend starting with your clothes, although you could declutter other items in your closet like shoes or jewelry or storage. Anything else I think goes, but as far as the actual clothing itself, this is not something that I recommend starting with. Books. This is another one that is really tough. I am really sentimental about books. I really value them. I love them. I love children's books, probably more than anything. And then I also love novels that I've read, although I have easier time getting rid of those. But I think books in general are a pretty hard thing for us to get rid of. We really see the value in them, just not only in the knowledge that we can glean from reading books, but they also make our home feel really cozy, and just reading itself is such a beautiful thing. So I see why this is so hard. Don't start with your books. Like I said, I'm going to give you some easier areas to declutter, but for now, don't start with your closet and don't start with your books. Projects you are hoping to finish. This one, it can be really tricky only because we have really good goals, finishing projects that maybe we've begun, and we kind of have this grand vision, no matter how small the project is, and we are kind of wrapped up, I think, a lot of times in the idea of finishing these projects. And it can be really hard to let go and say, you know what, I'm not getting to this. I'm not going to get to this. I need to let this goal or vision or dream, small as it could be, I need to let it go. That can be really hard to do. It takes a lot of emotional energy to do that. So if you have a project that you've been really hoping to get to or finish, I don't recommend decluttering it in the beginning of your journey. I have 3 kids and I love their artwork. I love when they come home from school with it. I love their little creations that they make at home, and it's really hard for me to get rid of it. I think it's adorable. I just love it, and I feel like having their artwork preserves their childhood in a really tangible way. So although I do recommend going through kids' artwork and saving the really high quality pieces, but not first, not in the beginning when you were just building up stamina and you're building your decluttering muscles. Again, this kind of pulls at your heartstrings and it can be really emotional. So I don't recommend going through kids' artwork first. And again, I want to make sure you realize I am suggesting that you go through every single area that I'm mentioning here and saying don't go through it first, but you are going to go through it eventually, just not first. So go ahead and save kids' artwork for another time when you've gotten through some of the easier decluttering projects. And again, you've built up that stamina, because kids' artwork is so sweet and it really is hard to go through. One thing that I held onto my entire life, I've collected this since the time I was born. So I guess you could say it's my very first collection. And I really had a hard time going through and getting rid of cards. I felt like they were so sentimentally valuable, and I loved that they represented each year of my life, each phase of my life, my 1-year-old birthday and turning 16, and congratulations for graduating college and high school. And it's like, wow, there are so many memories tied up in these cards, and of course whoever gave them to us you value as well. So cards are really hard to go through. Save them for another time, another day. Do not make this one of your very first decluttering projects. Baby items can be tricky for a few reasons. One of them being you might not be sure if you're actually done having kids, so it can be really hard to feel like you're committing to that choice trying to go through your baby items. So don't even worry about that right now. And then also, they're so cute. There's so many memories associated with toys and clothes, and those bassinets are so sweet. And it's just really hard to go through baby items because I think we're really attached to these years of our baby's life when they're really small. So don't go through your baby items, leave them in storage wherever they are. You will get to them eventually. Just don't worry about getting to them right now, because anything in the beginning that's really difficult to declutter can be a real setback and really hinder your progress. And I think when you're trying to get started with decluttering, you need those quick wins. And baby items is not the way to get there. So leave them for now. We will come back to them at another time, and tell yourself that I'm just not going to go through them right now. Items that were gifted to us can be really hard to get rid of. And again, for a couple of reasons. I think we have some guilt associated with getting rid of items that we've been gifted, like I'm somehow really ungrateful for what I've been given, or I'm kind of afraid if my family member or friend comes over and this item is not in my home. It's tough. Gifts are tricky. So if you have them, put them on hold. Don't get rid of them yet. Don't get rid of them now. And go ahead and just save that for when your decluttering muscles are stronger. But gifts are tricky, and I can go into more detail if you like for how to actually go through and get rid of these more difficult to declutter items. So if that is something you're interested in, let me know, because I have suggestions of when it actually comes time to face the decluttering process of these particular items, how to make it easier. So let me know if that's something you're interested in. I would be more than happy to help. For me, decluttering photos is really important because I need the space on my phone. It's kind of practical. I have to keep my storage, I have to keep my phone running. So to manage my storage is really important, but going through and deleting photos, even duplicates, is hard. Doing big or large decluttering projects of your photos first, I don't think is a great idea. This last one I'm leaving as a wild card. Anything that for you is difficult to go through. So for me, this is home decor. This is something for me personally that is tricky because I just love it. I love decorating my home. I love creating a cozy space. So this one actually isn't very sentimental at all, surprisingly, but it's still difficult for me to go through just because of how much I love it. So what is something for you that is just really personal to yourself and your style and your personality that's just hard to go through? It could be lotion bottles, perfumes. It could be something really simple, but I think we all have that one thing that we really love. It could be planner stickers. I mean, it could be something so simple like that, but if it's something that you really find value in personally and that you really love, it's gonna be a little bit tricky to declutter, and I recommend holding off for just a little while. For my 10th item, I want to talk about sentimental items. This is a doll that I inherited from my grandmother, and it just represents the sentimental items in our lives. This is one of the last areas that I went through when I was doing my own decluttering projects and decluttering my space. Anything that's in your storage that is extremely meaningful and valuable to you. Maybe it's things that you've inherited. Maybe it's just special souvenirs that you've picked up from your travels. Whatever that could be, definitely hold off on decluttering these things and wait till your muscles are stronger. All right, so what do you declutter first? I know this is a large list of things that I don't recommend decluttering at the very beginning of your journey. So what should you start with? Anything in the kitchen. The kitchen, I mean, you could go through every single area of your home and find something sentimental. So we can't just delay because it's too hard to get into every single space. We have to begin somewhere, but the kitchen is easier. Go through Tupperware, go through broken china, get rid of duplicate items. If you've got 3 crock pots, consider maybe getting rid of 2 and keeping 1. Linens, this is another area that's pretty easy. Get through old, used, worn, stained towels, maybe bed sheets that you haven't used in forever. Recycle, donate, get these items out of your house. Linens, the linen cupboard can be a really, really great place to start. Paper clutter, this one is tough because it's overwhelming. It's really overwhelming to go through. But if you just choose a little tiny pile and set the timer for 5 minutes, you're gonna make progress, and better is better. Progress is progress. So go ahead and start with your paper clutter. Broken and unused toys. Toys can be tough. I am sentimentally attached to a lot of my kids' toys. I think they're darling, but if they're broken or totally outgrown or unused, they might be a little easier to get rid of. So go through your kids' toys, have them do it with them, and just get rid of things that nobody's playing with or things that are broken. It's funny that I'm gonna be mentioning this because I just said maybe lotion or perfume is like the thing for you that's hard to get rid of, but I think in general, bathroom items are a little bit easier, especially if you have expired things. Expired makeup, expired lotion, expired products, craft supplies. Now this is different than a project that you started that you never finished. This is like I have 70 rolls of washi tape and I only ever use 2. So I'm gonna get rid of the rest. I'm gonna donate them. This is just like endless supplies of paper, that excess that you have kept for a rainy day and that day never came, and now you just have a whole bunch of craft supplies that somebody could be using and loving. So that's another really, really good one to begin with. I cannot wait to hear what you have to add to this conversation. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you soon. Bye.